Welcome to Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. I've just woken up from my siesta, which I'm enjoying. I list my hobbies now as napping. That's the level we're living at, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Monty Dean. A big thank you to Why Not and crew for the Y-Files. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to revolution.radio or freedomslips.com and donate what you can, within reason, obviously. Don't sell your house. You need to live in that. However, for the cost of one coffee per month, you can help out the station because we're 100% listener supported and 100% volunteer. And while you're at said websites, you can look at the merchandising, get caps and mouse pads and T-shirts and so on and so forth, which, for those in the Southern Hemisphere, you can start wearing around proudly in the summer. Unless you're in Victoria, and then you'll have to ask permission for Big Daddy Danny. And then pop into the chat room on the website and hang out with awesome people. They're having a lovely conversation as well. So hopefully they listen to some of this show, because there is options. There's Studio B, but I don't try and mention that because people go, oh, that's right, and leave. So anyway, this is Planet Collingwood. I've his two guests I prepared earlier. I let Cortek out of his room, which is good, and someone that actually came back from the past. He's the ghost of Christmas past. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brandon Young.
Hey everybody, it's me. I'm back. It's actually me, Keith Richards. How are you? It's me, Keith Richards.
I actually saw a photo of Keith Richards standing in front of a small child, and the text was Keith Richards teaching Willie Nelson to play guitar.
Yeah. I saw the weirdest clip this afternoon that someone had deep-faked Willie Nelson. It was one of those amazing moments where you just have no idea what you're watching and you love it. This is not an ad for something. Wait, what's Willie doing? Wait, it's not Willie. Wait, someone's deep-faked Willie. What is going on? It was fabulous.
That's about right. Yeah,
that's what the internet's for.
Well, yeah, cat videos and deep fake of Willie Nelson in an alleyway. Just remembering my joke, which I won't repeat again, because apparently the power of imagination is great. When I was like, I'm not Willie Nelson. Damn you. And from the chat room for you, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. So yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that at all.
Yeah, I know. No idea what he's talking about there, Flippy.
No idea. What is this? Thank you. I appreciate it. I will go, and I'm going to have him. Thanks.
Thank you for allowing me to let go. And yeah. I am Brent. Yeah, it's like I know a couple of Karens, and geez, they've had an interesting 4 years. Oh dear.
Yeah, but this Brandon, at least it's a little positive.
It's positive. Yeah,
it's
it
kind
couldn't be too hard to turn around.
Yeah. And I do have news for myself. I was awakened. I got a phone call when I was sleeping this afternoon because, well, why not? I'm unvaccinated. I'm scum of the earth, and I've been told that I have to find somewhere to live in 60 days.
What?
Oh, the owner of the house is or the unit's selling, so I've got 60 days to find somewhere, and I've already the universe works in its weird ways. There's two places that I'm looking at, and I'll organise an inspection for tomorrow, and I think one's $10 a week more than I pay here, but I've been paying the same rent for 5 years. So $10 over 5 years, that's much better than screwed in the ass. Yeah. And it's in the same area, and it's with the same real estate agent. So, it is what it is.
Sounds like it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it's. I'm just going to be annoyed of how I'm going to move all my heavy stuff. Of course, it's 2021, and it apparently takes 3 weeks to transfer an internet connection. I'm not sure how
you got the express. You chose the express service then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a couple of shekels here. Firstborn son there.
Greasing some palms there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, greasing some palms. Yeah. I don't know why I had to grease some palm trees, but some people. Yeah. Speaking of high level use of drugs, have you seen Barack Obama seems to be on the crack again?
Pictures or it didn't happen.
Well, I've seen the. I don't see. Well, it's a question: is he on the crack again? Because what he's saying is like, no, really. Because apparently, he was referring to because he's campaigning already, and not for himself,
for what?
obviously.
Oh,
Well, for the midterms, which is next year or something. But he's like, the Republicans are trying to put in laws to swing the election, and he's referring to voter ID. It's like, I still haven't found out, like, oh, that's right. Basically, in a nutshell, the premise that I figured out is that the Democrats are racist and they want to control the minorities in their voting in their election, because they don't think that African Americans descendants can go to or the DMV and get a license or a piece of paper, or it's that level. Identification. Why would we want that in an election?
It's tell you what, it's pretty easy to get sick and tired of politicians raising their head out of the little holes they go to when they finish their term. Like, jeez.
Yeah. Oh, and he said some other things, but my brain just blanked it out. It's like, no.
Those frequencies no longer get into my brain. They bounce off, and I
still don't understand how. By saying identification for the election is racist, the only conclusion I can come at is you're being racist.
They pulled the race card on the ID.
They're swinging the election. Why? Because everyone that's supposed to vote gets to.
Yeah, and plus, doesn't he have like 5 identities or whatever? Like,
yeah, because at the moment, like, you've got national security, the NSA, how many, like the Department of Homeland Security, and everything else like that. But apparently, the elections are on the honor system.
Well, not only that, but like Barack Obama himself,
and FIFA,
like he's got like 20 different birth certificates or whatever.
Oh, you got old Barry,
social security numbers and all this, and different names.
That's right. If you check out Barack Obama's social security number, he's 125 and French.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not his number. It's another guy's number.
So there you go.
Yeah. And also, what else has been happening in the world? Yesterday in the Victorian Parliament, this is a doozy. Apart from 3 members of Parliament from the Senate aren't allowed in the building because they refuse to show their vaccine passport, even though they are vaccinated. It's more about the freedom of medical apartheid. Yeah, so they're not allowed to vote. Yeah, the principle of the thing.
It's pharmaceutical apartheid, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
it's not medical. It's not really medical. It's not really health.
Well, they're involved, though. I think
we should draw this distinction. Makes it look more silly.
I know what you're saying.
At week 85 of 2 weeks to fight the term.
I see it's Phonetic Man sidekick butthead.
Oof. Straight to the wall.
Yeah. Oof, boy.
Better than last week, I heard Hijacker talking about arming Aboriginals or whatever from Putin or something like that. That was really crazy.
Around about 7 or 8 circles of that.
Yeah, got some feedback on that show. Let's just say that. Decisions were made. We're moving on. So, the latest legislation that no one saw up until about 4 hours before it was pushed through the lower house here in Victoria, is that the Premier has the choice of implementing a lockdown for 3 months without giving any justification. So basically, Caesar is gaining more power.
No, not Caesar, the crazy one who declared war on the sea. What's his name?
Oh, Caligula.
Oh,
yeah. Apparently, he was an all right person until he was hit in the head and he had brain injuries.
Until he went down the beach, and then it was all on.
Caligula means little boots.
Yes.
And he was known, and so he grew up in this sort of environment of trauma and all this stuff, and so he, I think he went wrong when he named his horse to be his general.
Yeah. I thought it was a senator. The horse was a senator. Yeah. Why is there a horse in here? Caligula, shush.
Can you imagine?
Yes, I can.
A horse coming in as a senator, and you have to it's like Jar Jar Binks or something. It's just like.
Well, no, Jar Jar's more cluey than Caligula. But I like your thinking. If Jar Jar was a Sith Lord.
I did hear breaking news. Sorry to say that, as a Star Wars fan, I know you are, Monty. And have you heard this? And I thought we were going to get to this. I know we would, but There's the new Ashoka. Who's this? Ashoka?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka with Hayden Christensen's going to be Vader. And what they're doing a one-off film, and I thought this would be really cool if they did the one-off film of just Vader going and killing the younglings.
He's sick man.
It'd be like a Martin Scorsese film. Like,
yeah, it'd be beautiful but dark.
In that style.
Shoot it in black and white.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe have a cello or piccolo, sort of, Godfather-esque.
Over it.
Makes the blood splatters against the wall a bit more arty.
Oh, well, see, now it's a lightsaber, so they cauterize the wound straight away. So,
but like, you know how they cut away after he like takes out the lightsaber? I was thinking about this. You know how they don't show him killing the younglings, but how metal would it be if they actually made him? They're like, you want Vader dark?
Well, actually, there's a fake. Well, it's a meme. It's like apparently Hayden Christensen just snapped on set and started hitting all the kids, and they just happened to film it, and that's why that's in there. It was written in the script. It wasn't Hayden going nuts.
Right. No, but it's also funny. Like I think like when they cut away in the film, if anyone that doesn't know, what they do is they just show the Vader kind of just. For no reason, like why would they do that as a character choice?
Well,
but anyway,
it's because it's very almost Japanese or Chinese. You cannot allow anyone to be around because they could seek their revenge later on. You want to add the blood. It's the bloodline. Back then it's like he said I've got a fat head. Well, destroy his bloodline, and because if you leave if you leave anyone behind, especially like Sith Lord, the Sith kill themselves, not metaphorically, but not the actual themselves, but they kill each other. They don't want any. Think David Rockefeller or JD Rockefeller. Competition is a sin, so you remove any force wielders because you don't want any. You want total domination through your power. And of course, they're functioning idiots, and they lost because
at that point he's not even full Sith. But I thought it would be funny, how they cut away. It just shows him like his saber coming out, and then it just like cuts away. If they cut back to it, and he's right. No, but he's cutting a birthday cake for them, or something like that. It's just like really nice. And
yeah, now we're just killing all of the masters, but you kids have some cake, you'll be fine.
I know, yeah, have some cake. Yeah, all the masters, don't worry about them. Master
it's interesting.
Yoda will be fine. He's
with
our favorite too.
The Ahsoka show.
Don't look out the door. Back to the cake.
Yeah, nothing's happening out there. Don't worry about the explosions. Oh, look.
Don't worry.
Not blood splatting. Searing bacon that smells.
Yeah. What's that smell? Oh, that's just Master Windu.
Eat the cake.
I feel like bacon. Well, that's Klaatu being killed. Anyway.
Sorry.
I couldn't think of another Jedi because it would make more sense. Like, the one that says, what about the invasion of the Wookiees? It's quite sad, that scene where all the clones turn on the Jedi. It's like, it's heartbreaking. Well, they show it in the movie when Yoda clutches his chest because it's like,
I always wanted to know the Council of the Wise or whatever it is, the Jedi Council there up in cloud whatever space there. I don't know what planet.
Sitting on the poofs.
They're sitting around, but there's the female Yoda. There's like one with hair.
Yeah, Yaddle.
Yaddle. Yeah.
Sounds Jewish. Yeah.
That's dreidel.
Yeah, she's dreidel.
Yeah, I said sounds. I didn't say it was.
She's a mixture between Yaddle, Yiddish and dreidel. But what I did hear was interesting. Think about this: Star Wars is Dune with Tolkien combined. These two genres sort of mixing. Because Dune, you have like kind of like you don't really have too much of you do have a story, but it's a bit.
Is it out yet?
No.
Yeah, the new one is out.
It is it?
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
No, I think it's in November, so it's soon.
Okay.
Not as yet. And we're all wondering if it's going to be woke because apparently they.
Australia.
they hired someone for the sex scenes. And I'm like, I don't remember the sex scenes being in.
What?
Dune?
Yeah.
Inside the whorehouse in the techno part of town. What?
Master Elf, would you like the dwarf this time?
Oh, you're talking about Tolkien. I thought you were talking about Dune. Okay.
No, we hope that that's not what the new Dune is. But apparently there's a raunchy sex scenes. I don't know in the book if that ever happened.
Not really. A little bit. There's just a little bit.
It was inferred, but
Well, there's love because strangely enough, I've decided to watch The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I'm up to the Two Towers.
Really?
And yeah, it's like I haven't watched them for a while, and I thought I'd watch them in chronological order from
classic.
the story point of view. So I've gone through all the Hobbit and watched Fellowship of the Ring last year, all extended cuts, of course, ladies.
Yeah.
And so I've got the Two Towers to watch tonight. And because with all the bat caca that's happening around the world these days, is like I need it. It's like you need fantasy to escape. It's like no, I kind of need Lord of the Rings to level me out. Yeah, to bring me back. It's sort of a level of sanity. Yeah.
I love jumping into a big trilogy like that. Sometimes you just need something with a bit more something you can sink
and
teeth
also
into.
You can't really,
especially that though.
You can't really tell that because I think they're 10 years apart, roughly about a decade apart, and you can't really tell the difference being made. Like watching Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray and widescreen, the extended edition, it still holds up, and it begs the question, why they bringing it back. But you find out they're calling it Lord of the Rings so people know it's Tolkien's or Middle Earth, but it's actually the Second Age, so it's a prequel to The Hobbit.
Kinda. So by
about 3,500 years, yeah.
Well, what's interesting, I mean, we don't know too much. We know a little bit, but you're right. It's a more Silmarillion based sort of material, which is the book that tracks, like you say, like the beginnings of that earth. It's kind of like I call it like the Old Testament.
Yeah.
If the Lord of the Rings is like the New Testament, or the Hobbit is sort of the New Testament, then the Silmarillion is sort of this Old Testament. Tolkien wrote thousands of pages and drafts and manuscripts and stories on this legendarian. What happened was Christopher Tolkien passed away last year, so all the rights rescinded to the kids. And so what did they do?
What did they do? Sell
sold it immediately to Amazon, Jeff Bezos for $1 billion,
and that's why you're getting conventions now of like this character could be homosexual, and it's all this wokeness, weirdness stuff like okay.
Well, even in the Hobbit, you saw this with the event. Like, okay, I know there's a lack of female characters in the Hobbit, but it is what it is. Don't invent Toriel, this elfin woman who falls in love with a dwarf. Like, I mean, it was sweet and everything. It was nice, but it was not in the book.
Yeah, the interesting thing, I haven't read the book for many a decade, but for the movie it works. And I'm a movie and book. I hope you're sitting down, gentlemen. A movie and a book are different. I know. Just work with me here. And so, like, I mean, you can read the book, and it is like grandfather telling you an old story, but it wouldn't really translate that well to a 9-hour epic, which Ben Jackson turned it into.
Yes, he did.
So, and so it is based on the book, and it's still Tolkien-esque, and it's I get under the hardcore. It's like that's not in the book, correct? But watch it as a single piece of art, as a movie, and it's like, well, that works, especially right at the end, where spoiler for that 6 people who haven't seen The Hobbit. The Hobbit dies. No, the dwarf dies. It's interesting that
dies. It dies.
Darth is Luke's father.
Sorry.
Well, it's like everyone that gets the vaccine's going to die. Technically, you're correct. Right. Anyway,
Thorin Oakenshield.
Yeah, but no. I see this 14 dwarves, and I can't remember the one that fell in love with the elf.
Balin.
No.
Bobby.
No.
Thule,
Feely's brother.
Thule. Feely.
Yeah, you're just giving me
Feely,
14
Feely.
names. Yeah, okay, fine.
Feely.
Yeah.
Jim Bob.
So anyway, Dopey watches Sleepy get killed. Wait, wrong mention. One Fred show.
No,
Anyway,
it was a heavy sleeper.
my point being,
Son
anyway, the elf is alive and the dwarf is dead, and the elf
Alright.
talks to her lord, and it's like it's a beautiful scene about love, because they shouldn't technically love each other. Dwarf and an elf is like, seriously, oh my god. It's
Right.
Tolkien's version. Well, not Tolkien, but it's Romeo and Juliet in a Tolkien universe.
Well, he's done that plenty of times, yeah. Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's how
Look at
Aragorn
Aragon
exists.
and
Yeah,
Aragon and
but the
Arwen,
point is,
Faramir.
like in the movie, who's the guy with the big moose? There's a question.
That's Legolas's father.
Yes. Yeah, he never talks
the
about
king.
the king of the Greenwood,
the woodland elves.
Yes, the king of the woodland elves. He never talks about Legolas's mum that much, and so when he does, it's poignant for the character to express that. Especially when Legolas, I can't come back. Oh, all right then, son. I'll do it as Australians. Dad, I'm not coming back. All right. Maybe if you head north and look for a guy called Davo. All right. By the way, Mum loved you. Oh.
Yeah.
So there's that touching moment, but also like the she elf, as the orcs call her.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. She says, why does it hurt so much? Please take it away and make it stop. Why does it hurt so much? And he responds, because it was real. And that's why that's because he still hasn't really, what's the right word, transmuted, or hasn't worked through the loss of his wife, which is the mum of Legolas. So, just these little bits like that. I mean, yes, obviously there's a lot of orcs getting killed with pointy things. Yeah, there's that action stuff as well. But it was a nice touch having those little bits of love all the way through it.
And he was under a tremendous amount of pressure to make these movies. He kind of was just like, okay. Like they almost forced him in a way.
Yeah, well, he became director about 8 weeks before start of shooting, because they were trying to find. They couldn't find Del Toro. I can't remember. Yeah, he left, or he was thrown out. He left the project, so he wasn't with the project anymore. And they were trying to find a director, and so Peter stepped in because the studio wanted him. And that's why when some people that don't like it, when they compare Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit, it's not as good. And it's like, well, it's a little bit, it's a little unfocused, because Peter was just supposed to be the producer, not the director.
Director, right? I was at the premiere of it in Maryland at this Egyptian theater, and I went with this university that studies Tolkien that I think I've told many times on the floor. But I just found my 3D glasses, because they had a special it was shot, if you remember. You could see The Hobbit in the theaters here in the States in two different ways. You could see it on, like, I think it was like, forget the exact, it was 3D or not 3D, basically. But
it was 3D like or not to 3D, that is the question.
It was the question. And so it was a lot of people, because this new 3D, when you were in the theater, was just so real. Yeah. It was bizarre. It was just like, it was almost like it was like everything was shiny, and it was just, it was an experience. It was definitely a once in a lifetime experience for sure. But it didn't seem real.
Sometimes it gets a little bit too fake. Like I've looked at 4K television, which I find interesting, because we know I'm heavily guessing everyone that listens to us don't really watch free-to-air television, or the cable television. If you've got 7 minutes, try and watch 7 minutes of free-to-air television, especially the ads. Just the volume aspect of the ads, where they compress the sound so it sounds louder to wake you up when you fall asleep. But the frequency that is pumped out by it, like, I watch TV shows, but I don't watch television. And I don't know if it's because they're downloaded on a certain site that has a pirate theme, or just I don't hardly watch any free-to-air television, and if I mean, once in 5 years, I'll think I'll watch some TV, and 20 minutes in, my head is just like melted marshmallow. Like, it's so dense, like.
Yeah.
In the truest form, intelligence, what dense means something, because it's a lower thing of I should buy a barbecue. It's just bad. The frequency that's pumped out.
Step out away from it for a
bit. Yeah, because it's you acclimate to the frequency, and then you step out of it. Sometimes, like when I go over to my mum's house and they have it on, it doesn't affect me. So like, oh, you're watching that, okay? Because I give them permission, if that makes sense. Like, oh, you're watching it, but
me too. Yeah.
But if I sit down myself and like, oh, I'm going to watch this.
No,
my head hurts. I have this strange. I need to buy something, and it's just terrible. And you can sort of see, like,
it's worse here in the States.
Oh yeah. We don't actually have. We have aspirin ads, commercials for aspirin, but we hardly have the level of drug companies.
Right.
Oh, have you seen that compilation? Someone put together all the news programs that are sponsored by Pfizer.
Oh, really? I bet.
All saying the same thing, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Basically, this weekend. Brought to you by Pfizer. Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. It's 30 seconds, and they're all bought by Pfizer. And like, I wonder why the media is pushing the vaccines.
Right. Oh, no kidding.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Nancy
that critique. Nancy Pelosi brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah, it's from California. This senator from California, I believe.
I'm familiar. Yeah, you believe. She hangs out in Washington a lot, but she seems to like to have a bit of a tipple.
I don't know. She's sort of like this California chick. I don't know. Anyway, but she likes her ice cream. Very super expensive ice cream.
Dear. Now, we didn't get to it last week for reasons, but did you see Joe Biden flipping out at that CNN town hall thing?
What happened?
Like, well, it's like
what made him flip out?
If you had Biden gaff bingo, you could have filled your card. It was just he actually said on stage, "What am I doing here?" And it's like, and it wasn't just like, hang on. He was halfway through a sentence. He was talking about Los Angeles and freight. Los Angeles and what am I doing here?
Nobody rocks like Springfield. Where am I?
But it's like he's doing stand up, like bad stand up. He's the president.
Yeah, and did you see him lock his hands like he was about to go skiing?
Yeah, but then he did the de-seeing you thing from the prisoner, right?
Yeah, someone actually put him on like the amount of memes coming out. Someone put Biden on a pony, or Cornholio from Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, Beavis and Butthead, yeah.
I need TP for my bungo, Mr. President.
Such a good show. They can't make a show like that today, for sure.
No, I'm not sure it's actually repeated anyway. But the thing is, people are you're getting to the point where it's just I had a problem with it 12 months ago. I'm like, okay, it was funny. Now it's just really tragic. Someone in his family needs to say. Yeah, he needs to see a medical professional, and we need him to be assessed. Now, other people that have just made, like Crowder this week and Biden, they show the gaffes that he's doing, but when they come back to Crowder, it's like it's just sad. It really, it's a the if you know the whole Chappelle thing, you're punching down. That's what it is with Biden now. It's like everyone knows that he has cognitive problems. He's got dementia. I saved some Joe Rogan podcasts from about a year ago.
Good. Yeah.
And it's interesting watching that, where I think one was in April, and they were talking about, this is before the election, because I looked at a calendar and the election's in November and the show's in April. Anyway, no, I completely, that's right. 2020 was at the end. I'm tired. And
who was the guest?
Jimmy, someone, an Asian chap. He was in Silicon Valley and Space Force. You'll recognize him. Your glasses.
Chu.
Probably, or Ofong or something like that.
It could be. Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, all these nouns.
Was it General Zhao? General Sao?
No, he's from Avatar. Yeah, he's from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Get to the point of the story. They were just talking about how Biden had cognitive dissonance back then in April before the election. Yes. It's like, really? And the best way that Biden could win is if they don't let him out of the basement. Well, guess what?
Right. Well, they let him out.
That's where they got the movie studio set up, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
And in the other corner, he has his mat.
Yeah,
that's kind of scary. So anyway,
that's where they plug him in.
Yeah,
I'm an astronaut. Yeah, no, but like I had that.
He's Ralph Wiggum from the future.
Yeah, I told the story on here, I believe, nowhere else. So you got the exclusive. Ooh. I had a dream, right, and this is before he got elected as well, I believe. Where I went into this back alley and it was protected by like Black Lives Matter people, right? And I went in, and inside there was some person I was supposed to see, and it was Biden on a hospital bed. Like, and I was talking to him, and he was just talking gibberish, like someone with no brain almost would talk, like blah 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 blah. I'm sitting there going, yep. Yep. And I was like, okay, time to go. And for some reason, I had to like lay down.
Can't stay on here all afternoon.
But the weirdest part is I had to like hold him like a baby, and like paging Dr. Freud, and then but laid down with him in the hospital bed too. Like he was like my grandfather.
I can understand how you could do that and it not be creepy.
He was so small.
You would go in, it would be a normal size, but then when he picked him up, he would kind of shrink to the size of a baby. So he could cradle would do weird dream stuff.
Yeah, when the doctor gets hit by the master and he ages 900 years. We have been joined by Pony, another Victorian. There's a Melbourne Cup reference, but I won't think of it. How are you, Pony?
Yeah.
Okay, calm down.
That means he's doing awesome. Yeah.
When was the dream?
This was.
Let's go, Brandon.
I don't know. We'd have to look at the actual records and stuff. But this was on the show. Like I'm talking before. I think it was before the election.
I was waiting. It was synchronistic that Pony joined. Then you mentioned that dream, and I'm like, oh, geez, you're lucky. Our code breaker happens to walk in the door.
Yeah.
You're explaining. This is my dream.
I don't know what it means exactly, but it's just like it's fascinating to. It's still visceral in my mind. Like dreams fade away if you don't write it down or whatever.
Well, it does it kind of makes sense of Black Lives Matter. They threw their lot in with the Democrats because the Democrats told them, no, we'll look after you,
right. And paid them.
Just paid some, not paid all, Well, some Black Lives Matter organizations have gone, we were screwed. They haven't talked to us at all.
I get my tiny violin out, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's like it's like the Democratic Party. There's a reason that Candace Owens created the Blacksit, where we're turning conservative because you Democrats are lying, because they get the black vote and then do nothing. And the Black Lives Matter organization are like, I
can't believe you lied to us. Oh, yeah, well, now you know.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is now is you've got Trump supporters and Black Lives Matter people protesting in New York over the same thing, which is the vaccine passports mandates. And it's like Joe Biden bringing the country together.
Yeah, well, there should be a clearly defined separation of people now. One group who wants international travel and freedom, and one group who doesn't.
Well, yeah. Interesting enough, Pony shared a story with me earlier that retail can open up here in Melbourne on Friday, and the Premier said, unvaccinated people can't go to retail stores.
Oh my God.
And then the next day on the news, well, they can. And then I saw someone else, I haven't checked it, but apparently when the state hits 90%, then the unvaccinated can't go. It's something ridiculous like
probably
that.
the same kind of ridiculousness here in Sydney.
And it's got nothing to do with health.
You go into some stores and, it's going to take the businesses to rise up and complain about this because they're losing half the business. They shouldn't have to stand there at the door, turn people away because
I don't
know.
Cortek, do you really want to open a customs office at the front of your store?
Stupid.
It's basically like, show me some papers, yeah?
Papers?
Yeah, you have your 17 shots. You may enter and buy things from me.
It's just so dumb.
Well, no, because you spend half the time screening people and to make sure you've got a vaccine passport. Now I saw it on the internet, but I use it a lot. If the vaccines work, there's no need for passports. If the vaccines don't work, there's no need for passports.
How can such simple and effective logic be missed by so many?
Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, we've had this prep with wars and different economic controls and everything. I know this is different and everything, but it's the same principle of sort of convincing people of control that they don't necessarily need. And it just goes to show that most people, unfortunately, will sort of just go along with the flow and listen to orders.
And there's still a lot of fear going around too. I saw some interesting stats during the week. 1 in 4 people in the US has now quit their job and refuses to go back to what they were doing. There's a lot of strikes happening in the last couple of months, more and more. Frontline workers are just saying flat out, no, none of this makes sense. I can have a simple, logical conversation with you about this, why this doesn't make sense. I'm here to care for people in this hospital or in this police force or, as a firefighter. I'm here to help people, and you're sticking me in the ass with a hot poker.
Yeah. Well, the other one question is why have all these health officials not taking it, even though they've been giving it to everyone else for 6 to 9 months?
Right.
They know what's in it. They've got the receipts.
Yeah. It's it's that. I mean, if you want to get super duper morality, your mofos need to be bitch slapped.
No one trusts them either. Why? How would you? How could you?
Well, not after that. It's everyone should get vaccinated. Blah blah. You have to get one now. Oh no, sorry.
We'll start out with free donuts and stuff like that, and Bickies. You get a pack of Bickies. And then turn tyrannical overlord in about 5 seconds.
No. You skipped over a step where apparently they'll give out a blue jelly bean. And it's it's exactly the same jelly bean from the Matrix. It's take the blue pill. Wow.
I was about to say those guys got ripped off, but if it's that, then I understand.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, really. But people are with the whole power grab here in Victoria, it made it to 3AW, if anyone's familiar with that. It's a talk back station. And it's this is out. These people are insane. And it's as for someone who's been trying to warn everyone for a decade, whatever, dude. I offered. Can't do more than that.
Yeah, on the big ones, there is no "I told you so" moment ever.
No, it's not. It's afterwards. It's when we defeat them. It's I told you, didn't I? I'm not doing it now because it's a distraction. There's no point. But people are waking up to the Little Caesar trying to take this. Oh no, I'm the center of attention. Yeah, especially last week, we will never have any more lockdowns. And then the legislation they put into Parliament on Monday. Oh, we can go into lockdown for 3 months for any reason. What?
Yeah, no. I can see that you guys wanted to just bore the shit out of everyone by having these daily meetings you wanted everyone to tune into where you said nothing changed. But really, no.
And on top of that, how's this for democracy? Strap yourself in, ladies and gentlemen. There are 3 members of I may have mentioned it earlier, but I'm mentioning it again. There's 3 members of Parliament from the Senate who are not allowed in to vote on legislation because they refuse to show their vaccine status, even though they are vaccinated. Like, it's
I think
so
they need
you
to
think
look at their security contracts.
Well, and also, how is that democracy when you block someone, a sitting member, to do their job? How is that democracy? Does that sound a hint of? Has a whiff of tyranny? Can you smell it in the air?
It's whiffy.
It's a bit whiffy. Yeah. We're downwind, and Caesar's taking a wee. Just
on a fire.
Yeah, which happens to be us. Oh, of course, the thank you, Pony. Pony's showing me something. Oh, and also, there's massive new penalties as well, where up to $100,000 fine, and it's just ridiculous. Where it's that's also New South Wales. They're going full New World Order, and it's like
wasn't this whole pharmaceutical? Sorry, wasn't it the whole? Did you see? Brandon, recently there was some kind of royal commission or something where someone was trying to find out something, and someone kind of winked to someone else, and they had like 14 cameras in the room. She's trying to say she didn't wink when it was all this insider trading stuff was going on. Oh my god, there's just so much ridiculousness going on. I thought this whole pharmaceutical apartheid was supposed to stop next month.
No, that's what they told you. But do you really believe the government?
Oh no, not at all. Not at
exactly.
all.
Yeah.
But
so,
I
at some point,
I thought they.
They're talking about
hope for them to tell the truth once. I'm an optimist.
Not sure. Well, no. It's going to take a long time. No, they're already talking.
Stupid thought.
They're already talking boosters, booster shots. Here in Australia, where there's a general in charge of the vaccine rollout federally. It's like, where the hell have you been? You going to do any work, man? Like, come on.
No one's going to go for it. I hear everyone super vocal about the choice of boosters, and super vocal about people saying, no, this is where I draw the line. You guys are just trying to roll this on forever. It's now week 85 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Get out of the way and let us make a better world, assholes. Yeah.
Well, it's getting to the point where I think now the deaths and adverse reactions from the vaccine allegedly are about half the deaths and the cases from COVID. So, at some point, like anyone with a brain would go, maybe we should stop with the virus, because if it's doing it's doing half the damage than the virus is. Now, the thing is with the virus, as we know, if you're fat, old, and you smoke,
or other complications,
a lot of a young man in his 20s died yesterday from COVID. No, he was in stage 4 cancer. Stop using his death.
That was suicide. He jumped off a building.
Yeah,
I have seen that. I've seen early on tweets of people or whatever who had people in a situation like that who were wrongly classified, just to chalk another one up.
The numbers and everything else like that. So eventually we should find out if it was man-made, the creator, or a bat.
So it came from the gain of function research, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we don't know, and instead of getting down that instead of down that rabbit hole, you put that on a shelf just momentarily. The virus is there, whatever it does. The response to the virus is exactly the same as the New World Order conspiracy theory. That's what I was going to mention earlier. Well, it's like if the New World Order conspiracy theory is completely fake, what have they done different? Because they're following the same script.
It's step by step. It's lockstep, some would say.
Yeah. Everyone stay in time. Yeah, come on now. Lifts the knees. Yeah.
No, that was the name of one of the papers, I think. There was definitely that kind of terminology in there.
Yeah, it's like even conspiracy theories now. Like there's I interviewed a gentleman for the Monty Dean show. I dusted that off and wheeled it out, and it's like I don't really get into the conspiracy theories because you get a bit nutty. It's like, well, everything that's happening was mentioned by theorists for decades.
Yeah, we've got no new ones. They've all come true.
Yeah, I know. It's like, we kind of, that's why, it's 5G. I'm like, 5, yeah, okay. Now, also, because we're in the age of misinformation, you really need to find things like apparently there's graphene in these in the vaccines.
Yep.
Until so you have to say apparently or allegedly until you have someone show you under a microscope, and it's not being it's not being contrarian, where it's like, I don't know, it's like, no, you kind of have like, 5G is the result from the coronavirus. Right.
Japan completely halted like millions of doses because of what do they call it? Some kind of substance found, which was probably GO or the graphic oxide for sure.
Well, it could be something. We need to, obviously, who knows? It could be a form of heavy metal. It could be based on the truth, but it's not. It's amplified when it gets into conspiracy world. Now, we're all being chipped. It's like if you own a smartphone or any device, you're chipped anyway, so there's no need to do that. But then
you've got the Facebook app on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what doesn't help is then the cheeky little bleeps come out and say, "Oh, look, we've created a small microchip that can fit into a syringe," and that just fueled the story even more.
Bad timing. Take that story back another 3
years. No. That's not bad timing. That's well placed. It makes everyone go, look, it's real. It's like, yeah, but they're saying it just causes confusion and everything else like that. So
it doesn't do anything to make anyone more accommodating.
Yeah, and as you said with the deep fake with Willie Nelson, who knows what we're seeing? You actually have to see everything personally yourself. And then after saying like, oh, okay, that's a pink elephant driving a biplane into a floating aircraft carrier, you may have to think, but is that a hologram?
Yeah,
Well, everything is so fake. Yeah, anything is possible, but nothing is real. To quote Living Colour, the band.
Gotta wonder.
Well, but of course, the only true love, the only truth is the love of ice cream. I mean, if you look at all the elderly politicians, they love their ice cream.
I would say they're too old and should be out in the fields eating ice cream. What the hell are they doing for anyone?
Was it yesterday or the day before? Hillary didn't kill anyone. You can't prove it. Clinton turned 75 or something like that.
No, they just won't die, will they?
Yeah, it's basically we're at the point where she may survive this level of reality, but she'll be punished when she gets to the astral. Remember that, kids.
Let's hope so.
There is balance to the force. There is the universe leans slightly to the good side of things because, why would creation destroy itself completely?
Maybe she's just used. Maybe she won't be too big a hassle. She'll just go back to being the grub she was before she came in.
Well, who knows? If she's a clone, if she's died already. What disturbs me is apparently Yoko Ono and her had a love affair. And what makes me... Yeah. Oh, no, it's worse. Can you imagine? Yeah, well, I'm going to. I am going to.
I need to look at something else now.
No, it's funny. It's funny. Wait for it. Just let me... Don't stand on the joke. It's gross that Yoko Ono and her had an affair, but do you really want to hear Yoko Ono climax?
How do you reckon it'd go?
Well, have you heard her records?
No, is it terrible? Like a cat being strangled?
Well, no, it'd probably be in tune and melodic. Oh!
It's anyway. Beethoven,
Yeah, it's the sixth issue of Beethoven that wasn't able to actually write.
I think we're in this big lull because there's just no ideas.
Well, there is ideas, but there's a lot of conflagration, a bit of the cognitive dissonance, clash of ideas. Where, like here in Australia, how many people are like, oh, I think the government's doing well, good jobs. And yet you walk through the central business district, especially in Melbourne, it's like, this is a ghost town. It's like, Victoria's done well. At what, Daniel? At what?
Daniel.
It's so weird. Oh, sorry.
Cities are a weird thing like that.
Yeah, it's just really weird how he's called Dan Andrews or Daniel Andrews, but Americans call him Danny, and it's really cool because it's like, wow, we don't call him here. Like,
is he Irish?
Well, Andrews, I believe the name is Scottish. I don't know if Daniel Andrews is Scottish.
Was old
I
Danny
don't know if he's
Boy
human.
Irish or Scottish?
Well,
The
see,
song.
yeah, how far back do you want to go? Because apparently a tribe from Scotland left Ireland, and that's how they're sort of a flowing. But because I think the Picts left it, human history, and also it's full of mistakes. Because apparently in Egypt,
Picts, I'm impressed. Wow.
yeah. Well, I use my powers for good and not evil. And also Doctor Who, when it's good, it does teach me things. Which is starting up as well.
Right.
Brandon, let's go. Sorry, I'm not. I'm also trying to ignore the Alec Baldwin stuff as well, because it's like I'm not touching that.
That's kind of tragic.
Yeah, it's like, and the amount of memes and so many people are heartless, aren't they? Like just seeing this stuff, like,
but also,
that's harsh.
We need to realize until the actual facts come out.
That too, because there's so many like
you can't say that. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of memes within one day that really should have left it at least 24 hours.
Yeah. It's time versus tragedy, or tragedy versus time, and it's like, you people are way out of and bam, out of the block straight away. Here we go. It's like, you want to chillax, man? Seriously.
Yeah.
Calm the F down. So
I mean, and the other thing is that a lot of people don't realize, like, sorry, but like, a lot of accidents happen on movie sets, just like any blue collar work job, like construction or whatever,
Well, yeah, it just sounds really weird. Where I follow. Sorry, Planet Phil. Please, no one start singing. Why? Why should I do that? I hate musicals. It's just stupid. Why? All of a sudden, I start to sing for no apparent reason, and the orchestra that's been following me for 3 blocks starts to play.
And here comes the sad part.
And I feel I'm going to miss the bus.
London.
We're in France. I want to be in London, but we're in France.
And it's Les Miserables or whatever.
Yeah, Les Miserables. What was it? Yes.
You know what that translates to, you guys? The Miserables.
That's very French. Very French.
I didn't know you spoke French.
I don't know if you knew this. Yeah, I did.
I've got the. I have a brilliant musical idea to bring to the stage in the East End of London, or the West End. West End, yes, will be West End. What's it called? The Miserables. I don't know. Oh, I mean La Miserable. That sounds a bit French. I like that. Yeah, we'll put that on.
Yeah.
3 hours of like, I have no food. Everything's gone mad.
It was originally about the Depression in the United States, and and the person turned into this whole French thing.
Yeah, even though it was written before. Anyway.
Yeah, like the 1700s.
It will happen again, yes. In the new world.
My timeline.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Quick to the TARDIS.
To Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'll see, now I'm going to put my hat into the Doctor Who ring. The next Doctor should be French with a horrendous accent.
Ooh.
That will. I mean, after the Sheffield one. Oh, dear me. That comes back next week. No, on the weekend. So 4 days. New Doctor Who. So you don't have to. I watch it, so you don't. Are we? I know. Was I hearing? Are we halfway yet? No.
We're about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
By my count, but I think you were hearing perhaps the 80 mile per hour winds that are right outside my window right now, which are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
To behold.
That is pretty fast.
Yeah, I hope
that might be an exaggeration.
I hope you let the cat in.
I was about to say that's good kite flying weather, but I thought better. It encouraged you to go out with a kite in 80-kilometer wind.
And a kite, yeah.
What?
Well, yeah.
There he goes.
Benjamin Franklin, I found electricity with my kite. It's like, I think you just drank too much cognac, Benjamin, and went out. I got an idea.
Watch this. Watch this.
Killed and buried a few more slaves underneath his house. You hear about that?
No, I haven't heard that, but I have heard the story about of course. Well, yeah, he was a free white man. He could do anything.
But he belonged to like the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, well, that too, yeah. Hertz, I think it was Professor Hertz, the guy that discovered low frequency like 5 hertz or 5 or 6 hertz, which is 5 cycles of sound per second. He had this machine in a field, and the assistants would turn it on and die. And after the 12th assistant or something, he realized, the human body can't vibrate at that because they're being liquefied because they can't. Like, I'm glad.
I'm pretty sure I've got the mathematics correct. Let's try again.
Yeah. Pierre, come here. Where's my brother Gerald? Oh, he's fine. He's just getting a cup of coffee. You'll be all right.
Sure, it's right.
Yeah.
Let's try again.
Yeah, just go over to that machine, and when I fly my yellow flag, just turn it on. There's a good chap. Well done. We are
What are
halfway.
these bottles of liquid?
Well, this is my brother's jacket. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. We're just going to go quickly run into the change rooms, suck on some oranges, and then come back. Stick around after these messages. We shall return. Welcome back to Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. That's just a hint of Doctor Who, but we'll get to that in a second. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. We're 100% listener supported and 100% volunteer. So we're 100%, yo. I believe the longest lasting publicly funded project on the internet until someone points out that I'm wrong. I used to be able to say that correctly. I've been doing this for a while. I only found out this week. I bought my car 3 years ago. It's blue, so I call it the TARDIS. Then I crashed into something, and now the bonnet's white. So the chameleon circuit's broken. Anyway, so if you enjoyed the show, please donate to that. And if you're on YouTube, just go to my channel page and click on the PayPal, which is waferthinmont@gmail.com. And through PayPal, you can share a couple of US dollars, which is will probably buy me a new car, because the exchange rate is hilariously different. And so, yeah, if you enjoy what I do and feel like I should buy food and survive, you go right ahead. Don't you worry about that. And then when you're at freedomslips.com, pop into the chat room and you can watch Packwoman and Planet Flippy have a talk about Doctor Who, where, yes, the woman Doctor Who is still alive. She has 6 more episodes and then 2 specials next year, and then she turns into something else. And then Russell T Davies comes back for the 60th anniversary of the Doctor Who show. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I saw an interesting study in the week that said that recent studies have shown that we can kind of do the whole matrix learning in our sleep thing. If we that's kind of.
You don't mean like putting on listening to a record while you sleep type thing, like how you learn French.
Kind of, but learning it and then going over it again in our sleep works. Seems to.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I remember doing playing guitar course, and the teacher was teaching it. He learnt about actual memory and how to do things. So if you practice on something for about 45 minutes per day, and then just do that for 7 days in a row, it gets past the short-term memory and goes into the long-term memory. There is a science to memory, and it's fascinating.
It's like you can just barrage it with stuff and it'll pick it up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. They should. It should be part of. I mean, if you could travel back in time, what would you do? See Pink Floyd in the 70s, and also go back and teach myself how to learn properly, if that makes sense. Like, if you teach someone young how to learn, the rest of their life is quite good. They just absorb information correctly, and there isn't any, they find it exciting. And it's like, that guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And now we come to an exciting part of the day.
Anyone?
The Vikings, they used to use boats, don't you know? So, if you teach kids how to learn, the rest of it's quite easy. But if you're teaching them what to learn, if that makes sense.
So many children with so many different interests, though, and if you don't have the interest, you don't really take it in.
No, and that's the problem with the educational systems based on the late 1900s, where it's all uniform and it's part of the industrial age, where they're basically teaching workers for the factories. And now, like, even I've got a couple of family members that go to, they're not special schools, but they're different from the classic state-run schools where, oh, what do you feel like doing today? Oh, okay, we'll paint. And that's all we'll do. Here's some purple. They're still teaching them, but it's completely not rigid and it's not conformity, uniform, and indoctrination. Where, I mean, with I think Brandon fell off his horse. He goed. We told let's go, and he did. But we've learnt more after we left school.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there's a wider range of things that you're not forced to do, and so you learn what you want to learn. I mean, that can go either way as well. I mean, people can do nothing at that stage as well.
Oh yeah, there is that too. Like the Joe Rogan podcast that I've been watching, where if you've got a job you hate and you're doing stand up, that will drive you to do better and get out there and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, well, I did have a job that I hate and it just made me worse. So I can see where he's coming from, and some people it does come to a choice where it's like, no, hang on, I can do stand-up comedy. I will get out there, I will work my butt off, and I've got a crappy job that I hate that will actually fuel that. Yeah. Then other people, it's like, well, I have a crappy job that sucks the life out of me, and so when I get to do what I want to do, I don't have the
energy left.
Yeah, to do it. So there's that flip side, like, you could be funny. Yeah, no, I've got to go to work.
Thanks, but I'm too tired.
Yeah,
all those 1 in 4 stats from earlier on that are coming out. All this striking stats, everything is pointed towards, what we said pretty much 84 weeks ago. This is going to be the chance for a lot of people to contemplate if what the remuneration, what they're getting for what they're doing, is enough. This is all this 1 in 4 strike talk that is coming out now. Not a lot of people. A lot of people quitting. A lot of people, not a lot of people going back because they don't. Feel like their time is properly.
It's a job they hate.
Paid for, and it's a job that sucks.
They pay. In Australia, we have tipping. Weird concept though. You have to earn it. Like if we give a tip, it's because we choose to. In the United States, it's kind of a given where you have to give 10% tipping or something like that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think it'd be hilarious to go somewhere where that people think it's mandatory for everyone to tip, and I just slap them 5 when they put their hand out.
But the thing is, a lot
sir, be good to your mother.
But a lot of waiting staff, they actually have to. They survive on tips because they get paid so crappily, and it's like, and I guess chicken or the egg came first, blah, 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 where the tips are there because they know that people need to survive, because if they just get their normal wage, they don't get anything. But here in Australia, if we get a tip, it's more genuine. It's like, no, I enjoyed this food. I love the service.
That was incredible service,
yeah. Here's a tip. You've earned it type thing. And it's not wrong or right, but it's just the differences between the countries.
I think it's wrong to have mandatory tipping. It really doesn't put any pressure on the employer to pay for their employees.
It's socially mandatory. Like, when we go over, we get shunned because like no tip. It's like, well, yeah, mate, you called me an F-wit.
Whatever. It's not about not being able to afford a tip. It's the principle of the thing.
Exactly. I want good service or get a better job. But the thing is, I understand, college people where they're trying to earn money and they only survive on tips. And the welfare stuff where like with I've seen a couple of headlines. I didn't read the articles because white man's magic and comes with bad juju. There's apparently going to be the Great Australian Resignation. And it's like, well, I'm sure the unvaccinated will be part of that because the governments are forcing them out of places. But we seem to be, it's the preemptive wave before automation generally kicks in, where 80% of the jobs are going to be removed. Now, it's not the same as like the Luddite riots back in the 1700s when the steam engine was created. There's other jobs, but we're getting to the point where 80% of stuff where like there is an automated McDonald's in Arizona. And it made me giggle because if you ask for the manager, a T800 comes out. You go, what is wrong with you? What can I do for you? Do you want to leave? Do not complain. So we're not all going to learn to code. Now, on the flip side of that is like the lockdowns. You know, a lot of people at the start, like this time last year, people were actually realizing, "Oh, hang on, I can garden, or I don't have the distraction of a 40-hour week at a job I hate. I can watch that documentary that guy said on that show I should watch."
It's a refusal of old patterns and old ways, and ones that have gone on for too long. Been rotting this planet forever. You know?
Yeah, well, they keep making up jobs where it's like you need a job. It's funny in what countries used to be free, which is mainly the Five Eyes, the Western white men, the West countries, where
the five brown eyes.
Yeah, we actually we live in a free society till you get a job and then you walk into a dictatorship. And that's the structure. That's just the difference. Like, you are free to starve, or you're free to get a job and have a boss, and you have to do everything they say, unless you work for yourself. And there's an element of freedom. But then if you hire someone, you become a dictator. See what I mean? It's come to Earth. They said, be a human. It'll be fun.
It'll be easy. They said, no worries.
Yeah, just a couple of lifetimes in and out. Should be all right, mate. You swine. Yeah.
Christ opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Word keeps coming back up.
Yeah. Bloody mumble, fumble, mumble, Chinese mumble, fumble. Oh, good times. As Bill Hicks said, it's an insane world, and I'm proud to be part of it. Yeah, but also, to be fair, I like things to evolve or stop. Because if you remember back in the day with Bruce and McDonald and myself, vote asteroid. I think even Pony, vote asteroid. Just come on, do something. And then the lockdowns kick in, and it's like, all right, stop doing something. Yeah, we're still like, okay, well, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and the other shoe dropped, but now we're stuck in a loop, and like, oh, you pricks. The thing. Come on, man.
What thing?
I don't know. I was just quoting a president of the United States.
I thought you were going to monologue for a bit longer. That's all.
No, that was a monologue for just wow.
I saw. Speaking of Bill Hicks, Hopkins Medicine or John Hopkins Hospital or something have started their first studies in a grant for psychedelic treatment in the last 50 years. So baby steps, but the train's left the station, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, microdosing, that's very popular apparently in San Francisco. If you just have enough to fire some neurons, it has shown. That's what. Of course, we need a corrupt industry and system to say no, it's real. It's like we need disclosure from the government. Why? They're lying cocksuckers. Pardon my French. It's like, go meet them yourselves. Like, there's all these alien. But the government needs to. No, not really. I mean, it's really weird. Like, the government's corrupt and we have to remove it. Blah blah blah. But we're still waiting for confirmation of a UFO. Even though I was been on one, it's the same thing where the whole sky could be full of UFOs and everyone's looking up and they disbelieve it. They walk into their house and see it on TV and then bang, they believe that. Oh, wow, there's UFOs. Yeah, you're just looking at them. Look, come outside again. Look, they're still here. Look, one's landing. Oh, no. See, oh, wow, television. Look, there's a house that looks like ours. Oh, look, there's a guy that looks like you walking onto the machine. Wow, I wish that was me.
Think there's too many people still watching the boob tube, or is it just older generations who tune in every night to the programming?
The baby boomers, and I say that because they're okay, but people call me, they call Gen X boomers. It's like, oh yeah, shut up. No. Yeah, classic line. Do you want to live to my age? Then shut the F up. Yeah, just saying.
No, I shut that down a couple of times when I heard when that miscategorization was going on.
Yeah, because it's highly insulting. Or you call them Zoomers. It was like, what? And then Millennials was like, whatever. But yeah, you got the baby boom generation because they're in their 70s or 80s, and this is the with we need to depopulate. It's like wait 15 years, the baby boomers are going to drop like flies, and the generation before them they would still have 12 kids because they wanted someone to survive without medical science. And then the baby boomers probably had 2, maybe 3, or not 6 was a lot. And so there's less. I mean, I think half the population is under 30 or something ridiculous like that. And so once the older generation pops off, they transition. You're going to have a massive population drop off anyway, especially in the West. What is it? The birth replacement rate? I think in Japan it's 1.4, and it should be 2.2 just in case of accidents.
Unseen buffer. It's always handy to have a buffer in there sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to have a 0.2 of a kid. Let's be fair. We call him Stumpy. Like my friend Melissa, she's got 5 children, so I jokingly say, "Oh, she created 2 of mine." So yeah, we're all good. But you can see what I'm saying is like if the tards in charge. There's a sitcom that won't get made.
It's catchy. It's got
I think we need to put the price of oil up. If they just waited 10, 15 years, you'll lose all the baby boomers will transition out, and there'll be less people and more people. Less people, easier to control. So why are they antsy? Do they need it now? What do they know that we don't know that has to be done by? Have you noticed, like people are saying that the Great Awakening is happening? It's like, well, that could mean anything to anyone. A lot of people in the political world, they're on the 3D level. They're waking up to the corruption in politics and everything else.
I thought that would have been the reason they got into politics in the first place.
Well, no. Well,
hey, that's a little heavy-handed, isn't it? That's a bit tar and brush.
Yeah, it's a bit dark, Sonny. Cheer up. Sound like bloody.
Well, I'd like to say at least half of them get in there to do good.
Yeah, but what I mean is like the general public are having that awakening in politics is corrupt, basically. Like everything's basically corrupted. Yeah, find me something that isn't corrupted.
Find me an example of a politician not lying.
Tulsi Gabbard, because she got out of it. That's the thing. Once the politicians find out how corrupt it is, they leave. Like, I'm not part of this.
There's no.
Because if the Democrats actually wanted to win properly, they would have got Gabbard and Yang, I think, but they couldn't control them. And so once again, it's puppet mastery and everything else like that. So the whole medical thing, like ivermectin, you can't have that. That's horse paste, dewormer, blah, 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 which is partly true, but you can still get human form of the drug prescribed by doctors, and it saved millions of people's lives.
Yeah.
However, apparently there's a new drug called Merck coming out, which is a derivative of ivermectin, because ivermectin's copyright or patent ran out in 1996. So once again, that's for profit, not humanity.
Yeah, I'm just posting another article just about the same thing. Australian scientists kind of speak out about any aspect of this, and then kind of get shouted down or afraid to actually kind of say what they found out or say what they think, which is not really an open, free society with debate and moving the actual idea forward, is it?
Well, it's like Daniel Andrews said over the weekend, or whenever in the last 7 days, you can't wait out the virus, and like the heck I will, you lying sack of.
It's supposed to have its own kind of entropy unless you guys are redistributing.
Yeah, and it's like because of Victoria, it may change in New South Wales because that could be the plan. We don't know exactly what's going on because I still think our politicians are idiots, and so they're being suckered into playing this game. They're not, say, the level of Clinton or Obama, but even at that level, they could be suckered into, oh no, this is what's really happening. But it's not the controlling force of 8 guys and eight men and women at the top at the Council of Foreign Relations that wear hoods in the back room. You know what I mean? It's like I'm sure there's a small group of people who are trying to dictate everything else, but they had to persuade the politicians, like Kevin Rudd, even Gough Whitlam and Malcolm Fraser. They were both at each other in the 70s. And once they both left politics, they realized it was a shit show, the game of politics, and became good friends and basically went into charity and tried and helped everyone. It's like, well,
try to get some brownie points back from what they did in politics.
Well, it could be that, or an element of karma, or just a natural progression from the karma of like, well, no, hang on, we may have tried to do our best in the game, but the game's rigged, and therefore we can do even better against the game. So yeah, on the premise of better karma,
they're doing
but
good.
I don't think it was out of guilt they did it. It was more of like. Oh no, mother lover, I ain't doing that, yo, type thing. But it's
the chancy nature that politicians might feel guilt or good.
yeah. I want to help people. Right, onto the cattle trucks. I'm just wondering, for the train, or just saying what's going on there. But the thing, what I find interesting is, I watched a bit of David Wilcock. He did a live thing on YouTube. He was giving out wonderful information, but it was like, buy my course. And I'm like, no, I don't have the money. But what he was sharing is interesting.
Like what?
This is, he was referring to the sun cycle, how the narrative and drama of what's happening on the planet unfolds in connection with the drama cycle, the sun cycle. So like this Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then conclusion over 11 years. It's like, well, you possibly could say that, but we're all the center of our own universes, so it's all uniqueness. The thing is, though, is the pandemic is... here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we now go to our contestants, Pony and Cortek. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining here on Planet Collingwood. What the?
Just testing the buzzer.
Yeah, you're testing me, my friend. We're going to and a word. Don't know we're going no Arugas here. When was the last time a global event affected everything? Like you have the lockdowns, which is technically global because that is affecting everyone at the same time. When was?
Yeah, Pony's got that one. He's hit it like 3 times now.
Pony.
9/11. I answered. This Jeopardy.
Yeah, in the form of a question, please.
Right. I've got a question for you. Where'd you hide the body?
Which body? I mean, what body?
Hid with your car. That you had to paint the bonnet white?
No. I unfortunately nudged a car in front of me, and it had a tow bar, and it pushed the radiator up against the engine block. Like, ooh, that's not good.
Just a light nudge.
Just a hint, yeah. But I wasn't going that fast. Ding! But it was enough for us. Like, you know what? I think the radiator should be closer to the engine.
It still runs.
Yeah. It cost me, I think, $2,000 to replace the front end and the bonnet. Or I could have sold it for $50. I was like, oh, all right then. So, but the joy of owning a car is secondhand. And so, yeah, it's got a white front and a white bonnet. It's so easy to find in car parks. It's great.
Either that or put the
Are we playing
ball
quiz
on
games?
the aerial. Yeah, let's play. I think that was it. I think that was just the one question.
Okay.
Well done.
Yeah.
Where's my voucher?
I've got your voucher right here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
No.
But basically, what 9/11. But that was sort of dropping a rock into the ponds, and so the ripples went out because Africa didn't really do much I don't really, people in Chad like, oh, did you see the buildings come down? Yes. Okay. But but it's probably the closest thing to a global event that's affecting everybody. Because people in Costa Rica telling me what's going on. I've got people in London. I know someone in Germany. And because he's awesome, I try not to, because I was brought up on British humor. It's always the Germans as the evil ones, yeah, because of this World War One and Two. And because he's German, it's like, I can't do this because I feel like I'm insulting him.
Yeah, a little.
Just a vincy bincy tiny bit, okay? But also a great gag, like when they're trying to bring in vaccine passports in Germany, and the Berlin, basically 3 million people protested. And I jokingly said, but it's based on truth. Yeah, the Germans know a thing about this. It's like, we're not doing this again. We know how it ended the last time. Yeah, what is wrong with you? Have you read? Did you sleep through a history class? You stupid schmuck.
It's the guilt over there is incredibly high. There's I had a friend who was running a skate comp over there. We went over there and hung out with this crew in Cologne. Great people, amazing time. But one of the funniest things was we're out on a Saturday night. We're out the front of this club kind of thing. I noticed these things in the footpath, and there were these little gold squares kind of thing. So I asked what these were, and these were little outside every house of people that were taken or whatever like that. There's these gold markers with the names of the family on there and stuff like that. So like the sense of responsibility is really, really high, and like it's as I guess growing up in there, and further on, like we were just sitting there, and like the person I was talking to, she goes, you watch, no one steps on them even as they're walking down the footpath, when it's really, really busy. The level of
respect.
Yeah, respect is
it's
quite high.
it's the unfortunate that's a good thing, to quote Bernie Sanders, but you can see how it's been manipulated because it's 75 years later. Now, obviously, you remember it, and I mean, just look at cable television with the Hitler Channel. Sorry, the History Channel.
Yeah,
that's what the little what's the H for? Hitler Channel. Yeah. There's documentaries on everything. Hitler's shoemaker. The Führer had tiny little feet. Yeah. The thing is, though, you got to at some point like let it go because the people were duped. You can't. That's
also what I felt. I felt it was too heavy-handed, and I thought it was a really, really heavy burden for the people growing up.
Especially 7 decades afterwards, and other when it's like in a way people complaining about slavery in the United States. It's been 100, 200. Well, hang on, what's the maths?
Lots.
170 years ago or something. 160 years ago. What about slavery in Libya today, or the sex slavery, white slavery in Eastern Europe, or blah blah blah? They ignore today, but they complain about something that happened in 1865.
Right.
Yeah. I used to work in a whorehouse.
Go on.
My resume. I made a spelling mistake. It was supposed to say warehouse. I didn't see it until I got questioned.
So you saw a lot of
question.
Saw a lot of boxes, did you, in your
was
warehouse?
That was time at the whorehouse.
So where was it?
Yeah, good one, Monty. Hang on.
Writing that down. A lot of boxes in the warehouse.
Got a lot of action.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, for those, that's a box cutter. It's like Xerox machine, which is a photocopier. What else? Like Google it. Doesn't mean go to Google. It just use a search engine. It's one of those. It's one of those trademarks that use of being married with the action.
Hoovering.
Yeah. In England. Oh, got a bit of hoovering. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, vacuum, right? Because everyone bought a Hoover. Well, I remember my dad. We had had one of the Hoover ones that floated, so it was just like a floating ball. My brother didn't like it because I used to kick it into him. Yeah. Boom. And then my mum got one
good
where
times.
I think it was Electrolux, which they only sell their ones from door-to-door salesmen. But it's fascinating where you get the stand-up vacuums where it has a more powerful headlight than your car. Like,
Yeah,
because
that's
apparently,
cool.
yeah, you need to see everything. You need to wake the dead
A
when
lot
you're
of
vacuuming.
a lot of vacuums went really cheap, Bath, and didn't put the headlight on. You know,
Well, that's true. Yeah, but that's the
it's
other
like
thing
you're
as well.
driving some kind of lunar module or something.
But I'm not sure about now, where the lifespan of anything's about 3 years. But 40 years ago, you could still buy something and get buried with it, and even the 50s. Like there's a car that was made in Australia called the FJ Holden. You could get buried in that thing because there was nothing wrong with it. It's like the Model T Ford. I mean, obviously, advancement of technology took that out, but and not only came in black, but it was a well-used vehicle. Even the V-Dub, which is sometimes referred to as Hitler's Revenge, there's a reason that those cars are. I mean, I think the V-Dub's just a cheaper version of a Porsche in some ways.
Was it
But
Second
it
World War
goes.
that where we pivoted there for profit?
Probably, yeah. It's
Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's really weird to be a commentator these days on the world. It's like everything's insane. It's been like that for 18 months, and I'm getting tired. So now that's going to be interesting when I move, because if it takes 3 weeks to get my internet, I may actually have 3 weeks off. We'll have to wait and see. So I do have till
Oh, no.
January 5th. I have till the new, 5 days into the new year.
you can hotspot off your phone.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. We'll wait and see. Can you
Alright.
see the theme
In
here?
50-degree heat.
Yeah. As I plaster you. But the two places I'm looking at the moment, one is $10 cheaper and it's a 1-bedroom place, and the other one is $10 more and it's a 2-bedroom place with a front yard and a backyard. And it's like, ooh, my cat can sleep somewhere.
That's cool.
And they're both closer to a shopping plaza area thing.
Christchurch.
Are you closer to me?
No. I'm heading away from Nuttawading Station towards Canterbury Road.
Yep.
Yeah, I can give out local references because no one knows what I'm talking
Still in
about.
progress, so.
Oh yeah, I'll still be paying something to those gits in the Shire. Baggins. Unfortunately, I only go to Aldi because it's cheaper. But yeah, I'll be still close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't do rewards.
No, that's true. True.
Please do rewards, and you get rewarded. And when you spend or get 2,000 points, you get $10. There's your $10.
Yeah. Well, I do buy fuel, and oh dear God, what's the petrol like? It's
If you join Woolworths Mobile, you get 10% off your shop once a month, and your 4 cents off your fuel.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been with Optus since 1998.
Oh, you're loyal. Jeez.
Yeah. Do you know, and it's really good when it's like, yeah, hello, yes,
And
Optus, yes. I'd like to talk about my new contract, please. Can you just check how long I've been with you? Oh, yes, sir. Right, sir. Sit down, sir. Here, would you like a cocktail, sir? Yes, of course. That's like loyalty points.
That's what you wish for, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's on the phone.
It's Optus, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I've been with the same internet provider since 2002, and because of I haven't jumped around that much, you don't get loyalty points, but you get sway because it's like we can't lose a long time customer. Like, yeah, that's right, female dogs. I'm in the hoose. Yeah, they're Scottish rappers. Think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my. What's your summer project? Moving, and the owner's selling, and so.
What if he says you can't move in until you're vaccinated? Oof.
My first response is, set the house on fire. Well, if I can't have it, no one can.
I'm going camping over the weekend with a friend who has been double vax. So if I don't come back, I've been murdered.
Well, yeah, but they could have got be part of the control group, so they could have probably got something less. You never know.
Copy that, Pony. It's recorded.
Yeah,
Seymour.
yeah.
So,
Oh, Seymour. Yeah, I've been to Seymour. You don't.
no.
Seymour. Yeah.
Hey,
You're right. Yeah, alienate small towns in Victoria, ladies and gentlemen.
There's no QR codes where we're going.
There's the byline to Mad Pony, a reimagining of Mad Max. We're going to Seymour. There's no QR codes out there.
worse in the country at the moment, isn't it?
Well, we're allowed our Lord and Master allows us to leave Melbourne, and I think the irony is about 50,000 left last year. And especially with the legislation they're trying to push through, everyone's like, "Nah, I'm gone." Until it's just he's gone to total tyrannical. You know, even Caligula's saying, "Dude, calm down. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Well, it's 100,000, and the wording in it where you could be picked up on class distinction or something else like that, and it's like, what the? It doesn't look good. The timing of it's just really bad. It's like, oh, we just got out of lockdown. What should we do? I know. Let's triple down on the tyranny, and we can go into lockdown for 3 months without having a reason. That sounds fair. No, and it's just the Premier. It's not the cabinet. The cabinet, which is 12 people from different ministries and stuff. So you have a group of people actually making a decision. I wouldn't be happy with the cabinet because it just sounds crap. But instead of having a group of people making a decision, it's one person, and it's like. I'm not a big history buff, but I know enough.
I think dictatorships 2.0 could actually work if you had like the competition for running the country being the person who can come in with the best idea voted on by everyone who has actually entered into the race. No one else gets to vote, and then so you've got then. You're voted in because of the ideas that you can achieve in that time, and you go and do it. And you have people trying to do better than that next year, instead of this rigged game, stupid shit.
Well, federally, that ended up on my radar. I'm like, oh, that's right, that punchable face is in charge. They're doing the whole climate change thing. We'll be emission free by 2050. And like, you're going to either destroy society or no, that's about it. You'll probably just destroy society. And it's like they're still believing that CO2 carbon is the enemy, and it's like science doesn't show that.
How's that La Palma going over there?
According to Sean David Morton, the group that is here to protect the planet tweaked it so it would not pop it off. It won't pop off. Pony may have done some research on it where it's gone quiet all of a sudden.
It's and apparently, still going though, isn't it?
Well, this is what Sean's saying. Now, if I wake up in New York is under 10 feet of water, Sean may be wrong. I'm just saying. So apparently the group have tweaked done some drilling or released the pressure and diffused that possible, not planet killer, but modified the planet modifier.
I don't know. There was a 4.2 just 57 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
If you watch the live stream, you can in like if you're living in a really really noisy area or something, you could just put that on as white noise because it's just going the whole time, just going that live stream. There's 1 or 2 live stream channels that are just 24/7. It's amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah, I leave it on and you just get used to it. But then when the screen will get brighter, it's like, oh, it's going. Then you don't have to listen to it. But yeah, no, the 4 pointers have picked up recently in the last 24 hours, man. There's 4 on the volcano discovery map because a lot of the maps aren't showing it. You have to go to the earthquake ECME list or whatever it's called. But the volcano discovery interactive map has got 4, and they've all occurred in the last Well, 3 have occurred in the last 24 hours. 4.2, 4.7, 15 hours ago.
Off the top of your head, if something goes a bit fishy and if it explodes, a large chunk of rock goes into the water and that causes waves, how long will that take to hit the coastline from where it is? Off the top of your head, you're not being judged.
I think it's like
you're
8 hours, 3
Okay.
hours or 8 hours, something.
Okay. Oh, no, we'll say between 3 and 8 hours. I was going to say you're not being marked here. It's not 50. It's not 20% of your final score. I'm just pointing that out, because I have no idea what it is. Because it's reminiscent of, is it Deep Impact, where Morgan Freeman's the president and the two rocks actually hit, and the East Coast is basically washed. And you sort of have to go in about.
Is there a young kid on a motorbike in that one?
Yes.
With a chick on the back?
Yeah, because for whatever reason the motorway, freeway.
You want a little dirt bike to take it off road.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering, how many people live on the East Coast of the United States? They'll probably just allow it to happen, because if they told, there wouldn't be enough time to move to higher ground.
There will be no riding. Bottle of water. Cussed yesterday. Will cuss. Morgan Freeman.
That was pretty good. Well, I totally had Morgan in my head. It sounded like we were on the phone to Morgan.
Oh, Cortek hit his head again, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Leo Biederman was on the motorbike.
Hit his head.
Did you see Dave Chappelle's ad for his special, The Closer? He actually, it basically shots of Dave driving a pickup truck in rural Ohio where he lives, and you got Morgan Freeman just sort of doing all this background, doing all this narration, and then at one point, will you shut the F up, Morgan Freeman? And Morgan's sitting next to him, and I was like, yeah, that would be annoying. You're just sitting in a car with Morgan Freeman, and he starts narrating your life. Now he's reaching for the cigarette packet. Shut up, Morgan.
I reckon I could do 8 or 9 hours of your life kind of narrated like that before I got bored of it. Depends what you're doing.
Yeah, if you walked around narrating my life, you'd probably last 20 minutes before I punch you.
You need a voice that's not as annoying as Morgan Freeman's.
Morgan Freeman's voice isn't annoying. It's just like the inane crap that would be coming out of it. It's like, oh, he's scratching his butt again. Shut up.
Here he goes. Scratching his butt again.
Lifting his toe to get his finger right in there.
No, he's put his hand away. He's thinking about it. No, he hears me. He's not going to do it now.
He's reaching for the cricket bat again. I'm going to start. We quickly will go to these messages.
Okay. I wouldn't like that at all.
Yeah, well, there you go. So we're at the end of October. Where the hell did the last year go?
Into dream and siesta, I suppose.
Well, yeah, as I said at the start of the show, like my hobbies now is sleeping or napping. Like, what do you do for fun? Nap. Actually, just nap. Just lie on the couch and zone and just drift away. It's fun, especially now where everything's wacky. I noticed last Friday the government didn't. Yeah, the government here didn't say it was Freedom Day. Everyone else did, and it's like, yeah, it's not though, because we can't leave. I can't drive past Frankston. Melbourne at the moment is shut off compared to the rest of the state.
You guys and me got different ideas of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. It's Freedom Day. It's like, yeah, I don't know how many.
Now has become a trademark rather than what the word actually means.
Yeah, I actually typed too many times. Yes, that feeling from walking from the cell to the yard, and that's the version of freedom. Like, you're allowed out of your cell, but you're still in the yard when you get in the prison. We're free to walk around the prison. Yay. And apparently, international travel will start up in Australia on Monday. Like, oh, great. So that'll allow a different strain of the flu to come in. Thanks for that, guys.
And we got the tennis thing going on.
Oh, yeah. And what I do like now, being Australian, we're all lovely Anzacs. We usually be swearing our heads off as we do, but I do like changing the words so it's family friendly and we can get away. But the bun fight that's happening about that, where the Premier is like, well, no, you need vaccine passport, and then the federal government's like, no, you don't really need to because it's you're a famous athlete and blah blah blah, and that's going on. And I hate tennis, so I don't care. My mum watches it, and yeah, it's just showing. I've played tennis. It's
all about Djokovic at the moment. So the big superstar Djokovic won't take the vax, so they're not going to let him in. There was talk that they will let him in, but
I was going to go watch otherwise.
Well, and I can understand where he comes from. But I can understand where he's coming from as well, because there's a player from the NBA that's basically saying that in the same mindset, I'm extremely healthy and fit. Why do I need the vaccine?
Yeah, I am more fit and healthy than any of you guys. You want me to pump myself with that stuff?
Yeah.
I don't need your stinking glasses.
Yeah, and also,
badges.
I don't need your stinking shots, okay? I just thought of another Alec Bourne joke. Gee,
too soon.
I know. Well, I'll share one. Because it's Racerfist who shared it on his Twitter, and from him it's like, oh, that's you, that's your style of thing. So I'll just say one. So brace yourself. Unfortunately, one person died in strange ways, and they're linked to the Clintons. Anyway, apparently it's taking a long time for Rust to finish filming, because apparently they have to load, shoot, and then reload. Yeah.
What's the person who got shot?
The camera woman, cinematographer. And apparently the bullet went through her and hit the director who was standing behind her.
I had some wild reports that she was involved in something.
Well, her husband apparently
was not too favourable about child trafficking or pedophilia, or
all right,
I'm not sure if that's correct.
The first question is, can you show me a favourable project on child trafficking? It's not that bad. Like, Jerry, come here. What are you doing?
Yeah,
she was doing.
It's a medical condition.
Yeah. It's like, love is love. It's like, okay, arrest him. She was part of a pedophile documentary. So that is welcome to Allegedly. My name is that's Allegedly.
You need a new theme for that one.
Yes, I know, and a name for my game show host name. She also is married to a former Clinton lawyer. Alec Bourne is linked to, he's a very left type of person as well. Kirstie Alley, who I follow on Twitter, basically said, I've worked with guns for over 40 years. I've never heard cold gun or, basically all this stuff. And what? No,
her father.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff, so it's really weird.
Doesn't listen to them.
What?
Her father was a submarine admiral dude, and she was born on a submarine base. And so the guy who played the submarine role in The Hunt for Red October killed the daughter in general.
Yeah, it is. It's code wise, it's like, wow, like there's so many synchronicities going on there.
And then you just got to think, what was T thinking when it happened? He's like, I did that. Give so much confidence.
Yeah, it's shocking, and like I've seen one meme about it. Like if he actually went to an NRA thing and just had one lesson about gun safety, and it's I'm trying not to let it to be a distraction. But we've only got 10 minutes to go, so like we can sort of chat about it. But also apparently the armorer who was dealing with all the weapons, and of course it's the movie set in the 1880s, and everyone's armed, so you need more than one person.
Was it had something to do with The Crow as well, or was that just people talking about Brandon Lee? Wasn't he?
I think I can't remember if there was a connection or no. So the director or someone on the set worked on The Crow 2.
That's
Okay.
close enough for me.
Similar.
That's close. For,
And
I
of
mean,
course, the 1880s is when Fred Trump came over to America from Barbaria.
yeah. So, but you can
There's
see
a lot of
you know,
stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of code to go through, but you probably end it as like, oh, it was an accident.
Or Baldwin has been a Trump fan this whole time, so he's like a secret hitman, and all that stuff was just BS.
Oh, someone actually did say that. Was the gun? It's on Twitter. Like, oh, let's not discount that a Trump supporter loaded the gun. I'm like, really? What? The armorer apparently the armorer was allegedly hired for their ticking of boxes instead of their merit. This, yeah, as we said, there's so much stuff where you don't get into it because you keep finding out more stuff and more stuff. If you started reporting on it, you're down a rabbit hole, which is...
It was a training exercise in the neighbouring county at the same time with the same name as well.
Yeah, that's it. There was a film school.
I didn't know it went this deep. I just heard that she was working on a pedo doc. I didn't know it went this deep.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what you just look at and like, yeah. Even and the memes, everyone's just going really harsh, and it's like, wow, you're all soulless vaginas. Stop it. Like, honestly, someone actually died. Mind you, that the way that the left actually, like Avi from Rebel News here in Melbourne. He had an altercation with some people on the street, and one of them said, I can't wait to see you on a ventilator, and I hope you die. Like, you know, remember the left? No, remember when the left were compassionate and tolerant? Where did that go?
No, they always seem like hollow aliens.
Well, yeah, like Joe Rogan defeats COVID-19 or better. And people wishing death on him because he beat the virus. Like how many other people that 98% of the people have survived COVID.
Joe Rogan says, "Stay hydrated."
Yeah, it's like I drink water. This just in. Joe Rogan drinks horse liquid. But that's the thing as well. It's the transparency is getting stronger. Where I was watching a bit of Tim Pool. He actually had two lawyers on, which was handy, and they said Joe should actually hire a good lawyer to sue CNN for a very basic thing, because they originally were lying about the dewormer. Joe actually had Dr. Gupta, who, for my moment when I watched television, I actually watched Stephen Colbert. Please help. But Gupta was on as well, and it's like, oh, it's so sickening. But the thing is, Gupta said, oh, yeah, you're right, they made a mistake. Then 2 days later, he went back onto CNN with Don Lemon, and they tripled down on the dewormer. And so it's libel, it's slander, it's Mabo, it's the Constitution.
Inconsistent.
It's basically Joe would win quite easily, and if he could probably get $100 million from it because how big he is, and by just lying like that, and everyone knows they're lying. They know it's a lie. So I hope that happens. Because we kind of need balance with the force, and like right now as well, if you remember Kyle Rittenhouse, that trial is starting today, tomorrow, and the next week.
Who's he?
He was the chap that defended himself and shot and killed someone in Kenosha during one of the Black Lives Matter riots.
Okay.
Yeah, because how's this? The judge came out and said the prosecution cannot come out and they have to be referred to as rioters, looters, and something else. They cannot be called victims.
Oh.
And actually, and then Stephen Crowd pointed out, one was a pedophile, one said the N-words. If you remember, like another guy was trying to hit Kyle in the head with a skateboard with the trucks.
I remember
if you remember, yeah. Anyone that watches the video, uncut from 2 or 3 different points, he was defending himself. He had the gun to he took a weapon across state lines. It's a 20-minute drive, so. But it'll be interesting to see which way the court sways, because we know what happened to George Floyd, where even Dave Chappelle said, "Oh, he was murdered." Well, shouldn't you arrest the fentanyl dealer?
I don't think he should have probably had a gun there in the first place. But this was
But
a heightened situation where people were fighting for their own life.
Well, he was actually defending because the Black Lives Matter. They weren't protesting; they were rioting, and he was there he was giving out water, from my understanding. He was helping people. He just had a weapon because it's the United States, and that's what you do. And later on, he needed it because some guy had a go at him. And
did that guy get him with a skateboard truck? Because that could really, really hurt and split.
No. He swung and missed, but he was running away. He shot someone. Someone was about to shoot him with a handgun, but he was lucky enough to fire and hit his elbow to drop it. And he shot another guy, I think, in the chest who actually died. Who turned out to be a pedophile. He was arrested for some weird stuff like that.
So he should be given a badge while being kind of tapped on the hand for shooting someone in the elbow.
But now we're getting optics, and it's the same thing. Remember that what was his name? The unfortunate child that stood his ground when that nut job with the Indian drum in Washington. He was wearing a MAGA hat, and he was smirking, and everyone went ballistic. Not Kavanagh. What's his name?
I don't know, but no one likes a smirker.
Well, that was the start of 2020, or even 2019. It was like 6 days into the year, and it's like, anyway, he sued CNN and won, and got millions of dollars from it. That's the end of Planet Collingwood. It's been an interesting trip. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. A big thank you to Pony, Cortek, and Brandon Young. Let's go, Brandon. Coming up next is 2 hours of Zen, or maybe 4 hours, I'm not sure. Please like, subscribe, give money, be good to yourself, have fun, and we'll see you next time.